Hey, what's up, family? What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Chief Colonizer with another video. I know, I know it's late. I know it's late. I know. And what's up? What's up? This is Chief Colonizer with another video. I know, I know it's late. Getting the feedback. Hold up. I know it's late. I know. And what's up? What's up? This is Chief Colonizer. Beautiful. So I just took care of that live feed. Family, what's up? Give you guys some time to get in. Oh, what's up, family? What's good? What's good? What's good? Like I said, my mission is never done. 24/7. I'm on the grind, bringing knowledge to y'all. All right. So I'm gonna give some more people. Hey, what's up, Jermaine? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. I'm gonna give you guys some time to log into the live feed. Get some more people on there. I try to bring powerful information, and I'm always gonna say that. It's gonna be powerful, but family. If it's a Friday night, let's think about this here, right? It's a Friday night. I have spent the last 14 to 18 hours helping a sister move. All right. Hey, what's up, Debbie? I've spent the last 14 to 18 hours helping a sister move out here in Illinois. And last, what's up? What's up? Alexandria, peace. All right. So check this out. And I've been literally on the move, helping the sister move. But family, I had this lecture prepared for you guys because, like I said, I'm always researching because that's all I do. And the real purpose, again, to let people know my mission statement. My goal, literally, is to bring the truth to our people. And when I say the truth, I mean that what your so-called lecturers and teachers on YouTube and Facebook and wherever, they're not telling you, because they're not telling you the truth. And of course, the message that I bring, it's literally talking to all the indigenous people of the world, like literally, okay? But I know that you have to take care of home first. So I am encouraging all the indigenous peoples around the world to wake up from all the lies that have been told, because every single thing, for the most part, that they have told us, all right, about ourselves is a lie. So now it is up to us to uncover the truth. And the bottom line is this: the indigenous people are waking up, okay? The Aboriginal people of the world are waking up, and it's gonna get more intense. So you have to prepare yourself. That's why I am constantly doing this video, so that you could get your affairs in order. It's important, it's imperative that you get your affairs in order. Go back to your indigenous ways. Go back to the ways of the ancestors. But family, this video tonight means a lot to me. Why? Because, of course, all my videos mean a lot to me because I put a lot of time and effort into them. But just through doing research, and not just research, but I'm searching first, then I'm researching, cross-referencing, and then I'm insearching, plus I'm meditating, I'm sun-gazing, just so that the ancestors could put me on the right path. And I came across this information. I just want to say big up to my brothers, all the brothers who are doing all the research and saying, hey, Chief, you know what? Check this out. This is what I found. So family, I have found some great jewels. Now I'm not gonna read the entire book. All right, I'm not gonna read the entire book, but we're gonna take our time and we're gonna read. And as I'm reading, I want you to read along with me. But I'm gonna break it down, because you see, a lot of times our people read, but they don't read. When you read, you have to read with an understanding and understanding of the information that you're reading. Now I'm gonna show you that our story here in the Americas, it haven't been told. Okay, not in its entirety, and it hasn't been told in a true sense. They tell us that we came from slaves, that came here on a boat, which is totally not true. But I'm going to show and prove to you everything that I'm saying. And you have to ask yourself, with all these teachers and lecturers that are here on Facebook, if they seem to tell you everything else, these people could tell you about Mars, they could tell you about flat Earth, they could tell you about round Earth, they could tell you about Anunnaki, they could tell you about cells in your body, but they cannot tell you the truth about you being indigenous to the Americas. They can't show you the proof because they want to put you in Africa. You have to know that these people have some type of motive, or they're being motivated by somebody else to mislead the indigenous people of the Americas. And I'm going to show and prove everything that I'm talking about tonight. So with that being said, let me Alexandria, what's up? Miss Wright, peace and love. Loving that orange. Thank you. Queen, thank you. Jamar, what's up? Anna Hill or Anna Hell, thank you. Leon, what's that? We have Bill, man, y'all got some beautiful names, but I don't want to mispronounce the name, but it's YS14. So peace and love. QMTV, what's up? Late night tonight. Yes, authentic one. So we're gonna go in. I have the link below in the description because, like I said, I never want this to come across as just me reading information and regurgitating the information like I'm some big scholar. No, I am just a great researcher, and I ask my ancestors to put me in the right path to bring the information to the masses and to the people. So once again, my disclaimer is I am reaching out to the indigenous people, especially the American Aborigines, because the world is waiting for us. Okay, so Ray, what's up? So with that being said, first off, let me just say, you know what, congratulations to my brother Pharaoh. You know, I heard that you beat your cases and there are no charges that's against you right now, so you're free to do what you're doing. Hey, congratulations. And I just want to say, I hope that, you know, you use your platform to tell the truth and bring the truth to the people. Okay, and part of the truth is telling the truth to the what you call the so-called Black and African American. Let them know the truth about being Black. It's dead within law. We are not Black. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. And let them know the truth, Pharaoh. Tell them the truth. Okay, we have to get over that whole ego thing where we doing things just because we trying to come up. Now, I'm not saying you're doing that, brother, but all I'm just saying is we have to tell the people the truth. Let them know the truth. And there's enough information that's out here so that you could use your platform to tell the American Aborigines, the so-called Black people, that they're not from Africa, that they're from here. Tell them the truth, all right? So we're gonna get in, all right, family? Hey, what's up, Ka? So family, I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna start the lecture tonight, all right? And I'm gonna break this down as much as I can. I am hype, I am gonna take my time and read. So I'm not gonna read the entire book, but we're gonna go in, all right? So I'm gonna share my screen and let's make this happen. I'm gonna be off the chat room for a minute. So I'm gonna be focused. I'm gonna take my time and read. And I'm also gonna use a dictionary to break things down as well, okay? Peace and love, and I'll see you guys in a few. So let's start this lecture right here. I'm gonna share my screen. Come on here, come on here, come on here. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. All right, here we go, family. I hope you guys could see this. I think you can. Yes, it's big and bold, big and bold. And we're gonna extend this because I have all this stuff on my desktop. All right, so we're gonna extend this and here we go, okay? So we're gonna get into this right here so y'all could see it and stay focused and not try to peep what I got in my, on my desktop because some of y'all are nosy, all right? Now, family, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go into this. It's a very, some powerful information that was sent my way. So let's see what we have here. The book is called Sketches of the History, Manners, and Customs, because a lot of times our people are confused in terms of what are the customs and ways of our people. And when I say our people, of course, let me just make my disclaimer real quick and make some things clear. I know that we are indigenous to the entire earth. I know this, okay? I'm gonna repeat myself. I know that we are indigenous to the entire earth because some people want to get, technical and they want to show sarcasm when I'm speaking. And, oh, well, we're indigenous to the earth. I know that. But at the same time, I cannot go into Russia and tell Putin, hey, this is my land and I'm home. Okay? I cannot go to China and tell the Chinese that this is my home. I cannot go into North Korea and tell this crazy son of a gun that this is my home because I'm indigenous to the entire earth. So when people speak that way, it shows, some type of ignorance, especially when I'm trying to drive my point home in referring to the American Aborigines. I refer to the American Aborigines because this is my home. This is geographically, I know, in essence, I am indigenous to the entire world, but I don't live in the entire world. I live in a section of the world that's called the American continent. So therefore, I have to focus on my home. I have to focus on making us better so that we could be an example to the world like we have always been. So I just wanted to say that because I don't want it to seem like I'm biased and I'm only talking to the American Aborigines. No, I would like all the indigenous peoples of the world to wake up. So we're going to talk about the sketches of the history and manners and customs of North American Indians by James Buckhannon, Esquire. All right, and we're going to continue to read. It says, Majesty's Council for the State of New York. So this is official. I just want to show you guys that. London printed for Black, Young, and Young, Tavistock Street. And it has a number 562, but we're not going to read that. I just want to start from the beginning so that we could give credit to the author. Dedication. All right, it says, to His Excellency, Lieutenant General the Earl Dalhousie, GCB. Okay, to His Excellency, Lieutenant General the Earl Dalhousie, GCB. Okay, Governor General and Commander-in-Chief of all His Majesty, possession in North America. So again, this is official. All right. Well aware, my Lord. Like I told y'all before, when you look in your Bibles and you see the word Lord, don't think it's a sky daddy or a deity that's in the sky. No, those were the lords of England, Rome, Portugal, etc. So your Bible, when it was not written by a sky daddy or a God in the sky, it was written by man. All right. So there you go. You see Lord in another book. And it's not relating to the sky daddy. It's relating to the people who came and pillaged our land. All right. Well aware, my Lord, of the effects produced by splendid talents, great personal worth, and hereditary rank in promoting any work of benevolence. I solicited and obtained permission to dedicate the following pages to Your Excellency. It is quite unnecessary to speak here of your lordship's deeds. They are too recent, too illustrious, too intimately connected with the history and the glory of the British Empire. Wishing Your Excellency long to enjoy a reputation thus acquired and merited, I have the honor to remain Your Lordship's most obedient, humble servant. Okay, and that's the gentleman. He was a servant of the so-called Lord of England at that time, and that is New York 1st. As you can see the date, New York 1st, May 1821. So we're gonna go a few pages here. I think we're gonna go into the preface. All right, preface. In attempting for, well, family, it's very important that we read this, okay, because we really want to get the gist of what this is saying so that we could get a clear understanding of where I'm going with this, to show you that who we are as a people, and we always had our own identity. Okay, now it says, in attempting to lay before the public a sketch of the history of the Red Indians of North America, with a view to excite a general sympathy to belief in behalf of an oppressed and suffering people, I am aware of the great impotence of my undertaking and sensibly feel my inability to stand forward as an advocate in any degree equal to the task, and I have thus imposed on myself. Now, family, we're going to look at the first paragraph here. Now, I don't want anybody to take any offense to this, but one of my brothers, we exchange information all the time, but he's a great student of life and knowledge, and therefore I would say he teaches me, and I'm always in learning mode. I'm always a student first, and even as a grown man right now, he gave me some tips, and he said, Chief, I don't mean to insult your intelligence. I know that you're a very wise brother, but is it okay if I teach you how to read? And I say, sure, brother, because I always like to remain what well, not humble, but I always like to remain, again, in student mode. So I allowed the brother to explain to me exactly how to read. And I'm going to read this the way he taught me how to read. Okay? So we're going to go again. In attempting to lay before the public a sketch of history of the Red Indians of North America. Now, we know what North America is, but the question here is the Red Indians. Who are the Red Indians? That's a major question, because you see, the so-called natives that are here on this land right now that claim to be the Indians, they think they are the red natives because they think this term Red Indians is literally talking about the complexion of one's skin. But I'm going to prove to you tonight in this lecture that the Red Indians are you. Okay? And I'm going to prove it to you. All right, so we're going to look at the word Red Indian here. Again, going back to the natives that call themselves the Indians and think they are the original Indians. I also want to point this out to them. All right? Red doesn't mean pale. Okay? Red means the copper-colored races they found when they came here. So this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go I'm going to go to Google. All right? Bear with me here for a second. In fact, let me open up another window because I want to keep this window open. And we're going to go to Google. You guys, please stay with me, all right? There's a point to all this. I want to prove to you who the Red Indians are. Red Crayola Indian. Right? Crayola Indian Red. Okay? And we're going to look at the images of what that is, because these so-called natives are very disrespectful. And they're thinking when they say Red Indian, because they weren't educated, their elders didn't tell them the truth about who they are. They are under the impression that the original people, meaning that they are the original Indians. But I'm going to shut all this down. Now, let's look at Crayola Indian Red. And I want you to see exactly what that is. Exactly what that is. Now, look. You see, that's an example of what they call, what you might call it. I hope you guys are seeing this, that they call Indian Red. Now, let me ask you a question. Does this look like any native Indian right now? Does this look like the complexion of any native Indian? Does it look pale? No. Those are the color-colored races they found when they came here. So I just wanted to show you, when they say Red Indian, exactly what and who they're talking about. It is quite evident that those are the people they found, as you could see with the Indian head, and it is showing the complexion to show you what Red Indian, what's the complexion is, the Red Indian. All those are Red Crayola Indian. All right? So now that you know that Indians that they found, apart from telling you about the definition of American, in Webster's 1828 dictionary, it says that the copper-colored races that was found in the Americas by the Europeans, okay? And that was the definition they had in 1828, Noah's dictionary. So I just wanted to point that out first, so we know what they're talking about when they say Red Indians. They are not talking about the native people that are walking, no disrespect to them, that are walking around here saying that they're the original people of the land. That is a lie. Okay, so now that we know who the Indians are, those are the so-called Negroes and blacks, people who are here thinking that they're from Africa, not knowing that this is their land. But my job is to bring the truth to you, so please be patient with me. All right, now, in attempting to lay before the public a sketch of the history of the Red Indians / African Americans / black / the people who call themselves niggers of North America, with a view to excite a general sympathy in belief of the oppressed and suffering people, I am aware of the great impotence of any undertaking and sensibly feel my inability to stand forward as advocate in any degree equal to the task I have thus imposed on myself. With but few exceptions, the American Indian have been abandoned by the Christian world. Like I said, family, I am just showing you right here that too many of our people nowadays call themselves Christians, but don't have no idea what Christianity has done to our people. Okay? The pillaging, the raping of our women and our men, when Christianity was imposed on them. But this lecture is not about Christianity, but I'm just showing you how treated our people, and our people are so proud to call themselves Christians today because they don't read and they don't research except in that Bible that the slave masters gave them. But I will continue. It says, as a cruel, bloodthirsty, and treacherous race, incapable of civilization and therefore unworthy of that attention which the inhabitants of other barbarous climes have received from the real and devotion of many learned and pious members of society. Thousands have raised their voices against the wrongs of our black brethren of Africa. Okay, I'm gonna repeat that. Thousands have raised their voices against the wrongs of our black brethren of Africa. That's, again, it's giving a clear distinction of our brothers from Africa, our brethren from Africa. It is pointing out that we are not the same. It is telling you thousands have raised their voices. In other words, the American Indians, thousands of us have raised our voices against the wrongs of our black brethren of Africa. I want to point that out. From one end of Europe to the other, the humane have been aroused to a sense of their injuries, and we are now actively engaged in the prosecution of every measure calculated to alleviate their sufferings, while but few have been simulated to similar assertions in behalf of the red American Indians, from whom native soil, the wealth of a great portion of the civilized world has been derived. I'm going to repeat that again because you see, the goal is these people don't want you to know how great you are. So they have literally hidden our history so far in these books and in these archives. And they say, you know what? Hey, if you want to hide anything from a you know what, put it in a book. And not just put it in a book, put it in a book that they can't find. But my job is to research these things and bring the truth to you. All right. So I'm going to read this part again. It says, from one end of Europe to the other, the humane have been aroused to a sense of their injuries, and we are now actively engaged in the prosecution of every measure calculated to alleviate their sufferings, while but few have stimulated to similar assertions in behalf of the red American Indian / African American / Negro / colored / black. Okay, from whose native soil, what does that mean? Native soil. This is your home. This is your land. You have never left. You have always been here. And hear what it says, from whose native soil the wealth of great portion of the civilized world has been derived. Like I have told y'all in many, many, many videos, we are the ones who created civilization and took it to the world. These people took your greatness and took it to Africa and making you think civilization started in Africa. But like I said, my job is to bring the truth to you. The African is submissive. Now, it is giving you a clear distinction between the American Indian and the African. For all of y'all that's going around talking about, oh, we are the same. No, we are not the same. And this is no disrespect to my African brothers and sisters, but we came from a different stock. Okay, we are American Aborigines. We didn't come from Africa. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to continue. The African is submissive. They are telling you about the characteristics of the African man because they colonized the entire world. So here in their own words, they are telling you exactly what that is. The African is submissive in his patient endurance of labor, renders his severe and debased state of importance to us. He is therefore preserved. The North American Indian, on contrary, which is in contrast, prefers banishment and even death to slavery, but his lands are serviceable to us. I'm going to repeat that. You see, they're making a clear distinction between our African brothers and sisters, showing the difference between us. We are a different stock of people. We are not the same. Okay, they're saying that the African is submissive in his patience, endurance of labor, and renders his servile and the base state, it is important to us, but he's submissive. But they're saying, on the other hand, the North American Indian, which is the Negro, the so-called blacks, the so-called African Americans who are confused, don't know that this is their land, they're not from Africa. They're saying, on contrary, prefers banishment, okay, and even death. You hear what they said? We prefer even death to slavery. So y'all better know what stock of people y'all came from, and the disrespect some of y'all have for your ancestors because y'all are claiming to be from another continent. It is a blatant disrespect to your ancestors. And you know what they say, honor your mother and father so that your days could be longer. And y'all wonder why we suffer, because we are not honoring our ancestors. We're not honoring our ancestors on this land that we are from, okay? But his lands are serviceable to us. Therefore, his extinction seems to be desired. I hope that makes sense to you. Do you see why you are going through what you are going through right now? You are not going through what you are going through because you are black, okay? You are not black. There's no such thing as black people. It doesn't exist. Black is a classification that means you are dead within law. They are telling you, okay, our ancestors they would prefer banishment and even death to slavery. But however, their land, his land, family, if they are telling you it's your land, why do you think you're from Africa? Why did they distinguish between us and the Africans? And they say his land. Didn't Martin Luther King tell you the Negro is exiled in his own land? Huh? How can you be exiled in your own land? Didn't Malcolm X come from Africa? When he found out, they tell him, listen, bro, you're not from Africa. He came back and said, you are the American Aborigines. It says his land. Family, if it wasn't your land, they wouldn't tell you you are from Africa. It's because it's your land, they want to put you in Africa so that they could take your land. You know why? Because it says, therefore, his extinction seems to be desired. Isn't that what they're doing right now? Making you extinct? They took your identity, they called you black, African American, therefore they made you extinct. They made you extinct because your land is serviceable to them, because they wanted your land, his land. Family, we are reading tonight, and I'm going to take my time. If you feel that you're not patient enough, it's okay, but I'm going to take my time and make sure this drives home tonight. We are going to kindergarten tonight, okay? The one submits to the yoke. We oppress and pity him. The other disdains to become the servant of man. All right? Now, I'm going to read that again. Now, they're comparing us to, again, our African brothers and sisters. The one submits to the yoke. We oppress and pity him. I hope y'all get this. And it says the other disdains to become the servant of man. So they're telling you, we would rather be oppressed, and they pity us. However, our brothers and sisters on the African continent, they become the servant of man. And his whole race is devoted to gradual extermination, for such must be the inevitable consequence of those measures which have been and still are in operation against him. I'm going to repeat that. The consequences of all these measures which have been, so they have always been oppressing the American Aborigines and still are in operation against him. What does that mean? Still are, meaning that we are going through the same perils that our ancestors went through because they wanted our land. Again, they said his land. The Negro has been exiled in his own land. Okay, for such must be inevitable and consequence of all those measures which have been and still are in operation against him. Though their infliction is marked by different shades of guilt, in a few years, perhaps in a few ages, perhaps a few years, these sons of Edom will be so far removed from the rich or of any but those engaged in the work, okay, the work of destruction, that no trace will be left to posterity of wrongs which have been perpetuated upon the Aborigines of the great American continent. Now, let me stop right here. You heard what they said. in a few ages, perhaps a few years, these sons of Edom. So what we need to do right now is find out exactly what does that mean, Edom. So right now we're going to go to the dictionary. We're going to go to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and we're going to look at the definition of Edom. Again, you know, one of my brothers taught me how to, you know, of course I knew how to read, but he reiterated to me, he said, Chief, when you read, you have to read to get a clear understanding of what does that mean. Edom, ancient country in Southwest Asia, south of Judea, all right, around, and it says the Dead Sea, all right? So we have to know exactly what that means and who they're talking about. Let me see what else they have here. Bear with me, family, bear with me here, okay? We're gonna get this. So we already know who the sons of Edom are, all right? So let's go back to the book right here. And it says, the wrongs which have been perpetuated upon the aborigines of the great American continent. Now, why would they call you aborigines? Why? Why didn't they call you Africans here? Didn't Malcolm X said that you are the aborigines of the American continent, okay? Now it says, I confess that I had no other idea of an American Indian than that he was the most ferocious of human beings. Whenever he became, named, his scalping knife, tomahawk, wash up, and thirst of blood were at once associated in my mind, and hence I was led to concur in the utmost universal opinion that he was totally incapable of being membered subservient to the arts of civilized work, the civilized life. Okay, so they have always called us, you know, barbarous, you know, they have always called us uncivilized, but yet still we had great civilizations. We brought civilization to the world. So again, them calling us uncivilized is a perception of the European race, all right? In the course of my travels through the United States and Upper Canada, I met with several Indians whose external, family, give me a second while I make up this word here, watch, dress, or wretchedness. Okay, there we go. I met with several Indians whose external wretchedness induced me to make inquiries as to their present condition, and although many persons to whom I addressed myself appeared to be perfectly indifferent on the subject and spoke of them in the most degrading terms, to seek for further information respecting their character, in the pursuit of which I have been engaged for 3 years. Little did I imagine that one of the most interesting subjects that can present itself to the human mind would open upon me, the full development of which would require the united and extended labors of men of talent and research, the absolute devotion of their time and energies to place before the world an impartial view of the Indians of North America, in other words, the black man, the black woman, the African American, the ones who call themselves niggers, the ones who don't know who they are, whose virtues, independence of mind, and nobleness of character have procured from their oppressors as a justification of those measures of severity which have been practiced towards them, the most foul and unjust representations. Let me ask you a question. The same thing that happened to our ancestors, and remember, this book was written in 1821. So the same thing that happened to our ancestors, isn't that what's happening to our people today? You have to draw the parallels. They have been gradually wasting away from the effects of cruelty and oppression, unheeded, unpitied, until their aggregate numbers, it is conjectured, has been reduced to less than 2 million. Their goal has always been to depopulate us. That's why they have their jails. That's why they have Planned Parenthood. That's why they have the GMO foods. That's why they have everything to poison you, to kill you spiritually and physically. These people are telling you that in their own documents and archives and memoirs. All right? hereafter being the policy of those by whom the North American Indian have been most oppressed, to represent them as very contemptible in numbers. And although they have become nearly extinct on the borders and in settled portions of the continent, it may be fairly presumed that the more warlike and active tribes have removed into the interior, and they have been found in numerous armed bodies by parties engaged in all the late expeditions. So again, it proves what I've been telling you guys, okay? A lot of us started off in South and Central America, but because our first encounter was of the Europeans was in the so-called Caribbean, etc., certain parts of South and Central America, a lot of our ancestors moved into the mainland. So that's what they are talking about right now. A sufficient number, however, yet remains to excite our sympathy. The wrongs which have been inflicted upon their whole race have furnished ample regions for the occupancy of civilized man. And does not our past neglect of their suffering and abandoned state loudly call upon us to make reparations for the ills they have endured? And the reasons why y'all cannot get, well, let me not say y'all. The reason why we cannot get reparations, or what they call redress, is because you are calling yourself Black and African American. What you don't realize is this: when these people came to our lands, they did not find Black people. They did not find African Americans. They did not find Negroes. They didn't find colored people. They find a couple colored people, yes, but the ones they call Indians. And you wonder why you cannot get paid. And every other ethnicity that has gone through what you call slavery or any type of any type of inhumane, okay, activities, they have gotten money. But how come you're not getting it? It's because you are Black and African American, because those were not the people they found when they came here. I hope this is making sense. All right. Now it says, does not the past neglect? Okay, I read that already. Family, just give me a second while I get this together, right? All right. In the eras we have hope may be led to the serious contemplation of his great and glorious object, that many things in the talents, energy, and benevolence of the Wilberforce, both in the United States and the Great Britain, may yet be found in interpose their power and energies in behalf of the race, destitute of the use of betters, to vindicate their character and to set forth a portion of their wrongs. I have been led to prosecute my inquiries respecting the North American Indian. All right, I'm going to bring that up so you can see where I'm reading right now. I'm reading right here at the top. While engaged in these pursuits, I learned that the Historical Society of Philadelphia, actuated by laudable desire to preserve the account of the Aborigines, had requested the Reverend John Heck Wilder, a Moravian missionary, to furnish detail of the information he had acquired during the residence of the greater portion of his life among the Indians of Pennsylvania and adjoining states. That gentleman, although 75 years of age, readily engaged in the taking and his historical account of the Indian nations, has been published in the Transactions of the Society, who have thus rendered an important service to science and mankind, while the Reverend also have left on record an unparalleled example of benevolence, sympathy, patience, and self-devotion. From the fullness of his work, I deemed the further precaution of my laborers unnecessary, lest my efforts might appear to many as a mere presumptuous display. I had therefore abandoned all intention of placing myself before the public by upon my arrival in London in the summer of 1820, having occasionally spoken of the interest I had taken in the present state of North American Indians. It was suggested that from my observations and researches, which extended to other tribes than those more particularly noticed by Mr. Heck Wilder, to gather with extracts from such parts of his useful and interesting volume as tend to confirm and illustrate the facts I had collected, the views I had taken of the subject, the public might be presented with a work in some degrees calculated to facilitate the adoption of measures in favor of the Indians. All right, we're reading from the top right here now. Under this impression, I have consented to place my humble labors before the public, disclaiming the slightest pretension to merit an author, and having no view of pecuniary advantage from the publication. Yet I can with confidence state that with diligence I have availed myself every opportunity of collecting information from the most authentic sources, I'm going to repeat myself, from the most authentic sources. Many curious statements have been rejected through perhaps true, and the reader is earnestly entreated to keep in mind that the fable of the lion and panther, as he thereby be induced to view with jealousy reports which may be prejudicial to the Indian character. Okay, now it says here, right below in that excerpt, it says where the star is that it says, Mr. Heck Wilder's history account exists only in the printed transaction of Philadelphia Society. It is on this account little of all known among the British public, and I have therefore been copious in my extracts from the Brethren's Offers page. It reads, let him also remember that they have no historians to record their wrongs or plead their cause against their oppressors, yet they believe, as I do, that the Great Spirit hears their sighs and regards their sufferings, and that he will appear to the oppressor and oppressed as a God of justice. So as you could see, our ancestors spoke of the Great Spirit, all right? We didn't use the word or the term God before the Caucasian man came. And even before they came, we didn't use the term Great Spirit. But when we started learning English, the closest description of what we held as the creator, we explained it as the Great Spirit, until religion came and have our people worshiping something they call God. All right, so I hope you could see that, and I hope that makes sense. Many recent acts of barbarity which have been committed upon the Indians, I have deemed it prudent to omit the present work. But those who read the speeches in Congress on the late war against the Seminole Indians will find therein much to excite their sympathy. My object is not to awaken national feeling or prejudice, but to unite the efforts of all good men in behalf of these oppressed children of the wilderness. Like I said, we came from the wilderness. That's what we have always been, family. We are the original people. But I hope y'all hear me, okay? For that societies may be formed to watch over their rights, and by the powerful agencies of the press to restrain lawless power from the further acts of cruelty and injustice. Now, family, I'm going to stop right here and tell you something, okay? Like I told you before, there are people in the world that's fighting on behalf of the indigenous people of the world, and particularly the indigenous people of the Americas. But the problem is the indigenous peoples of the Americas are calling themselves Black and African American. So therefore, the world cannot intervene on our behalf of your proper identity. Okay? I always like to try to drive this home so that this could make sense to you guys. All right? I hope you're still with me, because I'm not seeing the chat right now. Happily, these feelings have of late been extended into the United States, and the humane and just sentiments promulgated by His Excellency DeWitt Clinton, Governor of the state of New York, the unworried zeal of Mr. Colden, the mayor and humane disposition of many persons of the highest respectability in the United States led me to avoid even the appearance of wishing to allow any sentiment to mingle in this work, which might attach to it an air of nationality. As you could see, they're talking about His Excellency DeWitt Clinton. I wouldn't be surprised if he's related to President Clinton, because our people seem to have a love for the Clintons, not knowing these people are one of our biggest enemies. All right, the kindness and civility which I have experienced from all ranks in the United States, I shall ever be ready to acknowledge. With this exposition of my motives, sources of information and desires, I trust my feeble efforts will be supported by all classes of people and entry in a favorable feeling towards the execution and arrangement I commit to the cause of the American Indians to enlighten and New York, May 1st, 1821. We're going to go right into it, family, right into it. I'm not even going to waste time. Historical accounts of the North American Indians. All right, chapter 1, introduction. My design in the following pages is rather to collect a series of facts and observations. And I'm going to repeat myself, a series of facts. They are not opinions, meaning that those are events, okay, that these people literally looked at our people and gathered that information. So they're not guessing this, okay? It's a fact and observations bearing on the recent and present state and character of the North American Indians, than to furnish an account of their remote history. Whether they are or not the Aborigines, whether they are derivation is to be sought among the Tatars or Tatars, who in ages past, according to the sublime hypothesis of Governor D. Witt Clinton, overran and exterminated nations who then inhabited the great part of North America, and who had made considerable progress in arts and civilization and civilized life. So they are telling you the what you call it, the role we play in civilized life. Okay, they are just giving an account of that. Whether the theory adopted by Adair and Dr. Boyd did not be true, that they are the descendants of the long lost tribes of Israel, whether in short America was peopled from any of the countries of the old hemisphere or those from America, are questions which, however interesting, I leave to be discussed by abler antiquarians than myself. Antiquarians are people who who study history of antiquity. All right. My anxiety awakened by the present oppressed and demoralized condition of the Red Indians have indeed glanced backwards a few years to ascertain their character previous to their encounters with or intercourse with the European man. And I think it might be safely asserted that until that fatal period of their history, they were in the unsophisticated qualities of mind, one of the noblest people on earth. Now I'm going to read that again. All right. It says, and I think it might be safely asserted that until that fatal period of history they were, and they're talking about until we met the European man. Okay. Give me a second here. Let me just, because I want to make sure I read that again. It says, I'm going to go back to my anxiety. My anxiety awakened by the present oppressed and demoralized condition of the Red Indians, glanced backwards a few years to ascertain their character previous to their intercourse with the European man. And I think it might be safely asserted that until that fatal period, in other words, it was fatal, okay, of us getting in contact, okay, of having or any type of intercourse with the European man. But today, you guys think that these people are your friends. You think that these people have your best interests at heart. No, it is literally handed down to the descendants of the pilgrims that they always have to stay on top. They always have to oppress the so-called black man and African American man and woman that think they are from Africa. Don't let them know that this is their land. Don't let them know who they are. So we have to keep oppressing them. So for all you people who think, oh, well, they change and, oh, we could live together and everything is going to be, no, it's not going to happen. All right. These people, like they said, and again, this is in their own words, it is telling you it was fatal. The intercourse between the European man and the American Indians, it was fatal to our people. All right. It was fatal to us. And they are telling us that we were one of the most noblest people on earth. Do you know what noble means? We were one of the most noble people on the face of the earth. But yet still, y'all think y'all came from slaves. It is indeed astonishing how, without the aid of science or letters, they could have acquired so much of that moral power, dignity, and courtesy, which in our pride we attribute exclusively to civilized life. I don't think y'all heard me, man. I am talking about the so-called black man and woman who think they came from slaves in Africa, not knowing that they were already here, not knowing that they are the red Indians that these people came here and found. And it says, I'm going to repeat this. And that's why I'm not going to read the whole book. I'm just going through some of it because I'm taking my time with it. And it's in the link below so that you could read it for yourself. But this is just an introduction towards what you have to look forward to about how great we are, how great our ancestors were. All right, I'm going to read this again. It says, it is indeed astonishing how, without the aid of science or letters, you hear that? Without the aid of science or letters. Now, you have to keep in mind that science and letters, that was their, science is an English word. So it doesn't mean that we weren't aware of what they call science. But what they're talking about, without the aid of science or letters, they could not have acquired so much of that moral power, dignity, and courtesy, which in our pride we attribute to exclusively to civilized life. Exclusively, what does that mean? I don't think y'all hear me, but I hope y'all hear me tonight. Thank you for being on the post. All right. Their religious belief is, to say that least of it, purer than that of refined and philosophical Greece and Rome, and they follow its doctrines with perfect sincerity. I'm going to repeat that. Their religious belief is, to say the least of it, purer than that of refined philosophical Greece and Rome. So what y'all talking about? They are talking about the indigenous American aborigine. I hope y'all hear me. It says their religious belief is, to say the least of it, purer than that of refined philosophical Greece and Rome. So why are you people claiming to be Christians nowadays when they are telling you that our religious belief was purer than the most refined philosophical Greece and Rome? And they follow its doctrines with perfect sincerity, meaning that we were honest, we were sincere about our spirituality. But they take it and they give y'all religion. Neither infidelity, lukewarmness, nor hypocrisy in the regard to spiritual matters is ever found among them, excepting indeed their prophets, priests, and conjurers. I'm going to repeat that. I don't think y'all hear me tonight, but I'm going to continue to teach. All right? But I'm not a teacher, though. I'm just giving knowledge. It says, neither infidelity, lukewarmness, nor hypocrisy regard to spiritual matters is ever found among them. In other words, we were the pure of the pure, but yet still y'all think y'all came from slaves, huh? Y'all think y'all came from a boat, but I'm showing you tonight that you were already here. You were noble, okay? You were the one who brought civilization to the world. Our spiritual systems, okay? It was pure, no hypocrisy among our people. We are told by M.D. LaSalle in the account of the last expedition and the discoveries in North America in 1678 that at the decrees of the moon, the Indians carried a great dish for their greatest deities to the door of the temple as obligatory sacrifice, which the priests offered their god, and then they carried it at home and feasted upon themselves with it, right? It says, here at many rate is a little touch of, what's that, sacerdotal refinement worthy of an European fiera. Their language are characteristic by abundant strength, comprehensive of expression, and admirable method in their grammatical structure. Indeed, says Mr. Duponceau, from the view offered by Mr. Heck Welder, of the Lenape idiom, it would rather appear to have formed by philosophers in their closets than by savages in the wilderness. It is telling you that our grammatical structures, indeed, it was superior. Okay, it was superior, family. And in the oratory, which they take great pains to collective, they have never been exceeded in ancient or modern senates for permanent argument and eloquence, both imaginative and pathetic. I'm going to read that again. And in their oratory, meaning that the way we spoke orally, all right, which they take great pains to culture, they have never been exceeded. I don't think y'all hear me, family. I don't think y'all hear me how great thou art. I don't think y'all hear me how great our ancestors were. I'm telling you, this is an account of them telling you who the American Indian is. The so-called black man and so-called African American who don't know that they are American Aborigines. It says in the oratory, why you think that when we rap, you know, so-called rap and hip hop, why do you think it's taken over the world? Because we have always been great, all right? Our oral history and the way we spoke, we have always been eloquent, all right? In the way we speak. We came from prestige, we came from royalty. And it is telling you that the great pains in culture, they have never been exceeded. In other words, no other ethnic group, the way they speak, okay, orally, the way they present themselves, no other culture has cultivated it the way that the American Aborigines, the Red Indian, have done it. And they said in ancient or modern times. But I hope y'all hear me though. And it says, Governor Clinton, speaking of the Iroquois or Five Nations, remember I told y'all, the Iroquois and the Five Nations, our ancestors were the ones who created the Constitution. And the Constitution was made to protect the American Indians, not to protect Black people and African American. This is why you guys are going through what you are going through. My people, hearken to the message and get your affairs in order. Governor Clinton speaks of the Iroquois or the Five Nations, tells us that the exterior relations, general interests, and national affairs were conducted and superintended by a great council assembled annually in Onondaga, the central canton. Now, Onondaga was, right now they have it as a tribe, but it was a location, all right, composed of chiefs, and of each republic, and 80 shamans were frequently convened at this assembly. So what we did was we came together as a council to take care of our business. So what does that mean? It's telling you that we had established governments already. So again, don't let these people tell you that we came here from no slave ships, family. All right? It's time to wake up. It took cognizance of the great questions of war and peace, of the affairs of tributary nations, and of the negotiations with the French and English colonies. Like I told you before, we have always done commerce with the world. We have almost always done commerce with the world. We had a highly established governments. All their proceedings were conducted with great deliberation and were distinguished for order, decorum, and solemnity, in eloquence, in dignity, and in all the characteristics of profound policy. They surpassed an assembly of feudal barons and were perhaps not far inferior to the great amphictyonic Council of Greece. They were comparing, of course, you know, I'm being biased here, but they were comparing our councils and our governments to what they had in Greece. Okay, but of course, I believe that we taught, you know, Greece and Rome and all that, but I'll settle for that. All right. In another place, he speaks of the sublime display of intelligent power in the address of Garangula, an Onondaga chief, to M. Delabar, and a French general who in 1863 marched with an army against the Iroquois This rhetorical talent, however, is declared by the same authority to be peculiar in 5 nations. And it says, Duponce's report to American Philosophical Society held at Philadelphia, page 14. The most remarkable difference, he states, existed between the Confederates and the other Indian nations with respect to eloquence. You may search in vain in the records and writings of the past, or in events of the present times, for a single model of eloquence among the Algonquins, the Abenakis and the Delawares, the Shawnees, or any other nations of Indians except the Iroquois. On the other hand, the Reverend Mr. Heck Wilder, who has spent the greater portion of life among the Lenape or Delawares, have affirmed in his historical account of the Indian nations, of which the Lenape and the Iroquois form the 2 great divisions, that the Delawares are also conspicuous for oratorical ability. He quotes a speech of Captain Pipe, the chief of that nation, and he has made use of the following words in commenting on it. Here we see boldness, frankness, dignity, humanity, happily blended together and the most eloquently displayed. I am much mistaken if the component parts of this discourse are not put together much according to the rules of oratory, which are taught in the schools and which were certainly unknown to this savage. The proporiation is short, but truly pathetic, I would say sublime, and then admirable way in which it is prepared. I wish I could convey to readers' mind only a small part of the impression which this speech made on me and all present when it was delivered. They're talking about that speech that the Indian chief gave, just so you guys know what they're talking about. The assertion of the Governor Clinton seems to have resulted from his knowing more of the 5 nations than of any other tribe of Indians. The Shoshones, no less than the Delawares, are among the least of exceptions, and yet we find in the book lately published by Mr. Hunter a much splendid example of eloquence in the speech of the Tecumseh Shawnee warrior. The effect it had on his hearers, one of whom was Mr. Hunter himself, was electrical. And I will quote this account of it in order to show that the high opinion of the Indian orator, it is not derived from any one authority which might be exaggerated, or through the medium of professed translators, for might be disposed to manufacture these harangue after a given model into the European tongues, but that it operates upon all alike and shines with the same character through every variety and accident of interpretation. The Indian orations have been rendered by illiterate persons sent among them to conciliate their favor by prisoners, male and female, who learned the language during their captivity, by learned missionaries, by traders who will not perhaps be suspected of romantic enthusiasm, by Dutchmen, Frenchmen, Englishmen, and Americans, and the result in all cases have been very, very similar. So they're saying that all these different people who literally give an account of our people, their result is very similar in terms of the prestige and eloquency of our people, our ancestors, that y'all think came from slave ships. All right? The doubts, therefore, which have been and still continue to be entertained by Indians' eloquence are, to say the least of them, inconsiderate. The probability is they are injured rather than improved by transmission into European languages. I told you about this English language. I wish it was in my power, says Mr. Hunter, speaking of the Tecumseh, to do justice to the eloquence of distinguished man, but it is utterly impossible. He's literally saying, he's trying to describe, the eloquence of that distinguished Indian man, but he said to try to put into words, it is utterly impossible. All right? The richest colors, shaded with a master pencil would fall infinitely short of the glowing finish of the original. The occasion and subject were peculiarly adapted to call into action all the powers of genuine patriotism. And such language, such gestures, such feelings, and fullness of soul contending for utterance were extinguished by the untutored native of the forest in central wilds of America as no audience. I am persuaded either in ancient or modern times, either before witness, his discourse made an impression on my mind, which I think will last as long as I live. So family, it is telling you, within ancient time and even modern times, they have never came across such people of such intelligence. I mean, literally, you see, I mean, I'm reading the thing here in black and white, but yet still our people are convinced that they came from slave ships in Africa. I'm going to continue reading, then I'm going to stop and let you guys read this for yourselves. But I just wanted to give you an introduction to what you have to look forward to see how great our people are. Okay? The hospitality of the Indians has been pretty generally allowed, and it is no small proof of excellent regulation of their minds that they are not in the lightest degree addicted to the pernicious practice of backbiting. Even in the profligate look with the contempt on the slanderer, which he is signed with the finger of scorn by more respectable, who shun him as they would the poisonous serpent. None which venture to traduce those who sustain a fair and horrible character. And as for the worthless, they never consented to talk about them. Slander, therefore, the most pitiful vice of little and malicious minds, is beneath the notice even of the Indian women. A strong sense of injustice is innate among the Indians. They entertain the greatest respect for the aged and tender. All right. Again, the respect we had for our elders, the respect we had for our children. You have to ask yourself, where did all this go? And I'm talking about this was just in 1821. And you have a few years later, you have I see videos of our young men punching elders in their faces. Okay. This our young, the disrespect. But hear what he's saying now. Okay. And they are unwearied in lavishing delicate attention to them. The attention and the care that we had for our elders and our children, they are describing that right now. Their friendships invaluable, and they are told by the carver in his travels with what moderation, humanity, and delicacy they treat female prisoners and particularly pregnant women. Their conduct in letter particular, it is not confined to females of their own color, but but is extended to white women, the mothers of inexorable destroyers. I'm going to repeat that again because I have to make that very clear to our men, okay, who, again, if you feel like, you know what, you need to be with the so-called white women, that's on you. But I'm just showing you what these people say about their own women, and it's not coming from my mouth. Okay, it is coming from their mouth. They are talking about their people. So I'm going to read that again. It says, and I'm going to start where from the top where it says, let me come down here because I want to make sure we get this. It says, a strong sense of justice is innate among the Indians. They entertain the greatest respect for the aged, meaning that the elders, and the tender, meaning that our babies, and are unwearied in lavishing delicate attentions on them. All right. The friendships is invaluable. And we are told by Carver in his travels with what moderation, humanity, delicacy they treat female prisoners and particularly pregnant women. Their conduct in this latter particular is not confined to females of their own color, but extended to white women. In other words, it wasn't our women that we imprisoned. It was the white women. All right. But even if we imprisoned them, we treat them with respect. That's what they are saying. They were not of our own color, but it extended to the white women. the mothers of the inexorable destroyers. So they are telling you the mothers, the white women, were the destroyers, okay, of our people. It is saying that in their own documents. They are telling you about their women. I mean, this is a wake-up call for me. I mean, it's a rude awakening. Of this I shall have occasion in the course of my work to cite a touching instance from the valuable pages of Mr. Heck Wilder. I might perhaps be thought their indiscriminate progenitors were, I do get on the state, the simple beauty and wisdom of the system of education, the faith they keep in their treaties, their lofty courage, the magnanimity they display on occasions in private life, which are to act to stir up the resentment and envy, all the main passions of civilized man. It will be naturally expected that they have given this summary of Indian virtues. I should say something of the Indian vices, and I am happy that the latter will bear no proportion to the former catalogues. Cruelty and an eager appetite for revenge are the chief, if not the only, deformities of their nature, and these are the scarcely ever manifested except in their open hostilities, the causes of which are precisely similar to those which actuate civilized nations. Then, indeed, their ferocity breaks out with almost, what is that? Demon kill fury. Pardon me here for a second, family. Their captives are generally doomed to death, but it is not until they have undergone the utmost exquisite tortures, the most ingenious, inordinate, and protracted agony, that the final blow is given. These atrocious practices are not, however, peculiar to on the Latin Indians, okay, unlettered Indians. So they're saying that when we held prisoners, they're not talking about our people, but when they held prisoners who were foreigners, we went through, of course, a lot of torture and different agony before the final blow was given, before we just kill people, all right? So we had our own systems, we had our own structures. The metal boot and wedge of the thumbscrew, the rack, the gradual burning of Smithfield, the religious butchery of the bloody Peter Montes, who rolled mother with infant down the rocks, the dismemberment of horses, Luke's iron crown, and Damien's bed of steel, sufficiently attest to the claims of the enlightened man to distinction in the art of torture. But the Five Nations, says Governor Clinton in his masterly and eloquent discourse, notwithstanding their horrible cruelty, are in one respect entitled to singular commendations for the exercise of humanity. Those enemies they spared in battle, they made them free. Whereas with all other barbarous nations, and he might have added with the most civilized nations, slavery was the communication of death. So in other words, they're saying that when we caught prisoners, regardless of what, you know what, we eventually set them free. So that was very noble of our people, all right? We almost done. I'm going to stop reading in a sec. But it becomes not us if we value the characteristics of our forefathers. It becomes not the civilized nations of Europe who have had American possessions to envy against the merciless conduct of the savage. His appetite for blood was sharpened and witted by the European instigation, and his cupidity was enlisted on the side of cruelty by every temptation. Our author, in seeking for the causes to extenuate the inhumanity of the Indians, might have said something of their natural and just resentment of the aggressions and tyranny of the man of Europe, by which they have been reduced to the lowest state of wretchedness. So family, what do you see is going on amongst our people right now? These people, you know, and even in their Christian songs, didn't they make a song? What was the name of the song? That something like that came and save a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Now you see where all this is coming from. These people literally brought us down. They demoted us to wretches. Okay? And that's why they had to make Christian songs to save a wretch like you. Y'all think this came from a sky daddy. Y'all think it came from a God who came to save you. No, that was the lords of England. That was the lords of Rome. That was the lords of Portugal that turned you into wretches and now give you a savior to say that that savior is coming to save a wretch like you. Okay? In the wars between France and England and their colonies, their Indian allies were entitled to premium for every scalp of an Indian. In the war preceding to 1703, the government of Massachusetts gave 12 pounds for every Indian scalp. In that year, the premium was raised to 40 pounds, but in 1722, it was augmented to 100 pounds, a sum sufficient to purchase a considerable extent of American land. So this is what they did. They went around, they scalped our ancestors, all right? They got money, and they used that money to buy land. So literally the land that these people stole from us, our land, it came from literally scalping our ancestors and getting paid for that and using that money to buy land. Just so y'all know what happened to our people. An act was passed on the 25th of February, 1745 by the American colonial legislature entitled an act of giving a reward for such scalps. Not content with this execrable pollution of their mind by the agency of liquor, we have shown party division among the Indians, which in all its discordant shapes rages with uncontrolled sway. Their nations are split up into fragments. The son is arrayed against the father, brother against brother, families against families, tribes against tribes, and canton against canton. I'm going to read that again because I have to make sure I drive this home. And also in the Bible, didn't it tell you that Jesus came to put father against mother, mother against father, brother-in-law against brother-in-law? They are telling you what they came to do, but yet still y'all serving Jesus. Is the same thing they telling you right here. Not content with this execrable population of their minds by agency of liquor, we have shown party division among the Indians. Okay, we have sown party divisions. They are telling you what they did. They sown. In other words, they planted party divisions. These people are telling you what they did. We came to kill, steal, and destroy. Okay, they sown the division, party divisions among the Indians, the so-called black people, the so-called African Americans, which in all discordant shapes rages with uncontrolled sway. Their nations are split into fragments. The son is arranged against the father, brother against brother, families against families, tribes against tribes, and canton against canton. What do you think is happening today? Isn't that prevalent in amongst our people? This is what these people did. Okay? They are telling you even in their Bible what they did. But y'all think it came from a sky daddy, a God in the sky. They are divided into factions, religions, political and personal, Christian and pagan, American and British, the followers of Cornplanter and Sagoa, Ha of Scordinier and Captain Peter. The minister of destruction is hovering over them. And before the passing away of the present generation, not a single Iroquois will be seen in the state of New York. That was the plan. The plan was to make us extinct. You heard what they said, right? The minister of destruction is hovering over them. The minister of destruction. What are your pastors called? Aren't they called ministers? The minister of destructions. Didn't they tell you that they come to put father against father, mother against father? Isn't that what they told you that Jesus came to do? The minister of destruction is hovering over them before the passing away of the present generation. They're saying that before this generation passes away, not a single Iroquois will be seen in the state of New York. They want to make you extinct. Y'all better wake up. Yet with all this guilt at our doors, we call the poor Indians savages and barbarians. Yes, they have indeed become so, since they are debauched and contaminated by the liquor and the example of the European man. When you go in every corner of our store, in our neighborhoods right now, what do you see? Churches and liquor store. But you heard what they said. Yes, yet we call this guilt at our doors. We call the poor Indians, in other words, the blacks and the African Americans, we call them savages. Aren't they calling you savages today again, family? How much more do I have to prove that this is you and this is your land? Don't they still call you savages? Yes, they have indeed become so since they were debauched and contaminated by the liquor, an example of the European man. Who brought them that liquor into your neighborhoods? Isn't it the European man? But now, y'all think they're your friends. But they're telling you what they did now, and hear what it says. Hear what it says. Our vices, says Heck Wilder, have destroyed them more than our swords. What did Jesus say? Didn't Jesus say he came to bring the sword? But yet still this man is saying our vices, in other words, everything that they have used against our people, all right, it have destroyed them more than the swords. Because our people, our ancestors literally said, we would rather die than be your slave. So they had to use other devices, mental slavery, okay? Misclassification, misidentification. And they said that it have destroyed them more than our swords. Look at the conscious community. Look at religion. Look at our communities. Look at our schools. What do you think is happening? Everything that they put in plan was manifest. I do not hesitate to say that, in my opinion, the ignorance of letters has been the only hindrance to their being, politically speaking, the most powerful people. Okay, regardless of that, they say that we are still the most powerful people. With the faculty of circulating and improving their natural information by means of literature, they would either have not have been objects for crafty acts of civilized man, or they would have been invulnerable to them and never could have been driven from their territories. Their courage and warlike character, unwavered by learning, are things but inferior force. Knowledge, says Bacon, is power. Who is Bacon? Go do some research on Bacon. Bacon is the one that helped write the Bible. But y'all better wake up and hear me though. How with such elements of the mind as they possess, they could, unlike other originally great people, have continued destitute of written wisdom and must ever remain a mystery. They're saying, like, you know what, these people, I mean, the original sophistication of these people, literally the wisdom, the written wisdom, it must have ever remained a mystery. It is still a mystery. They were saying that in 1821. They had no idea how intelligent we were. All right. It is this important want in which compels them to endure their wrongs in silence. They have no means of making their grievances known to the rest of the world, but must look for intercessors among those who have robbed and enslaved them. That's why you have a lot of them coming out right now and telling the truth about our people, about the wrong that is being done to our people, because that stuff is prophesied. All right. Why then, I may ask, with the being in Heck Wilder, should not a white man, a Christian, who has been treated by them all times with hostility and kindness, plead their honest cause and defend them as they would defend themselves if they had but the means of bringing their facts and their arguments before the imperial public? Let it not be said that among the whole race of white Christian men, not one single individual could be found who rising above the cloud of prejudice with which the pride of civilization has surrounded the original inhabitants of this land. The original inhabitants of this land. They didn't say those who came from Africa. Okay, it says the original inhabitants of this land, the American Aborigine, the people who are confused today, who think that they are African American and black. I'm going to ask you, Why aren't your teachers and lecturers teaching you about who you are? Now you know who the agents are around you. But I'm going to continue to speak the truth. Would undertake the task of doing justice to their many excellent qualities and raise a small, frail momentum to their memory. Family, I'm going to end here. And you could read chapter 2. The link is below. But this is going in detail and talking about our people, the manners, the ways of our ancestors. All right, I'm going to go back to the chat. I hope a few of you guys are still with me. I know I was reading for a while, but you know what? We still here. Family, you guys can, so I'm back on the live chat, all right? You guys could read the information. I have the link below. I have the book below. Like I said, I am going deep, and I am going to show you guys who we are, all right? That's my job, to bring the truth. I'm so happy that many of you are still here with me. But now I am here in the chat. I'm not reading anymore. You're going to read that in your leisure and take your time and read it and let it digest. Okay? Let it digest, because the truth is out here. We just have to dig and we have to find it. So now I'm back in the chat. All right. So what's up, fam? Yes, our ancestors brought me here, man. Our ancestors brought me here to tell the truth, uncover the truth, tell you the things that this conscious community, they ain't telling you. Your so-called leaders, your so-called teachers, the ones you subscribe to, okay? They're not telling you the truth about who you are. I'm going to ask you again, if they have all this knowledge about everything else, why they can't find that information to tell you? All right. We're going to read some of the comments right here. It says, I can't wait until the day I walk outside to see my people and new Europeans. Everywhere I got, there is a white person, literally, even on, family, the goal is we have to do our own. It's Debbie says, it saddens me that many of our people are still blind. And family, you know what? Yes, but it's our duty to wake them up and tell the truth. That, you see, that's what I'm here for. You know what I mean? And I know that, like I said before, the message that I bring may not be popular. I mean, look, now I could even see on another live feed that SETI and Pharaoh, they live tonight, but I guarantee you, they're not talking about this. They're not telling you they're not telling you the truth about who you are. You see, why do they want to keep you black? Why do they want to keep you African American? Why they're not telling you the truth that you are an American Aborigine? So that's what we are going up against. The truth against fiction, against the false cities, against the lies. Okay? That's what I'm going up against. But it's okay though. I'm gonna make it happen. Jamal said, now that I think about it, I'm glad that I am Indian, melanated, because just imagine born white and hearing this. I know, right? How would we know which Native Americans are we? My sister, Sister Sterling Bay, we don't need DNA tests. Like I tell people, this was my journey. I had to go through this journey to do the DNA test, because I am putting things in place, okay, to liberate our people. So I had to set up certain things that I had to do. But like I said, I'm going to do a video on that whole DNA thing. You feel me? But I just want you to know that our oral history is what stands. If your grandparents, your great-grandmother, they are of this land, then that means you are indigenous to the land. Okay? Period, bottom line. So I hope that answers your question. Okay? I hope that answers your question. We don't need DNA to prove who we are. Period. Because they already know who we are. We have to ask them to prove who they are, because they are the ones that's illegal in our land, calling us illegals. Hey, what's up, family? What's up? What's that? Who can I be? What's that? Infotend me with? How you doing? That's a long name, but how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Every time I watch your videos and hear these things, I feel love and peace. Yes, because the truth will come. All right, and the truth will resonate. You feel me? The truth of who we are will surface. It will. Believe that. And that's why I do what I do. Family, there's so many things that I want to do. But like I said, I reach out to you guys and ask for your support. That's why I ask for you to, support the GoFundMe. The link is below, because, if only I had the support, that I so need to put these things in place. We could be making so much railway right now. You know what I mean? It's just so much we want to put in place right now. but we need your support. You know what I mean? We need your support to help make these things happen. Okay? Because right now we are in a position, I appreciate that, Julian. You know, right now we're in the position to literally start putting claims in to get our land as the indigenous people. Okay? You cannot get it back as being black. You cannot get it back as being African American, because that's not who you are. You are indigenous. You are the American Aborigine. And that's how we get our land back. All right? So work is being done right now. You feel me? And it's just so much more time that I need to bring things to you, but I have to take time to do other things. You know, I have the passion for this, but that's all I want to do full time, you know, but I have to take away from what I'm doing to do this. So that's why, again, I always ask for you guys to support. You know what I mean? What's it? Mr. Marcus 82 said, peace family. This is Marcus Crossroads, cousin here in Cairo. Gratitude for the works. Oh, all right. What's up, fam? What's up? What's up? What's up? Peace, peace, peace. For real, family, you know, we here. So you know what? I got to come to Cairo so I could show our people that everything that I've been showing them is true, that Egypt was right here. So I'm going to go to Cairo, Egypt, and I'm going to do a little documentary and bring it to the people as well. You know, Kyle Robinson says, thank you. So you are so powerful. We are Indians, and I love your videos. Well, thank you, family. You know, first, let me just say that, yes, we are the American Aborigines. As you could see, it told you we are the American Aborigines. They call the Indians, all right? The red Indians. And red, I show you again what the red Crayola crayons look like. Okay, those were the people that they found. The people who call themselves natives right now, they are not the original Indians. They are literally the ones that replaced you. They put them in place to replace you, to throw you off, while they call you African American and black. All right, so it's time to wake up. Wake up. Okay, but the link is below because I didn't want to read the entire book. Okay, I just wanted to do the introduction, read chapter 1, and then I want you to take your time and read this. And family, let it digest. Let it digest. My link is below for my email. Those who are ready to build, those who are ready to move forward, send me an email, because you see, the more of us that could come together to make this thing happen, is the faster we'll be able to make some headways. Okay, I am just one man doing this, but just imagine if we had 10,000 of us, okay, who know who we are, moving forward, putting things in place. All right, so my platform is to bring the truth to the people. The sister said that Indian means dark also. I mean, it could mean a lot of things, but it means that as well. You know, it just literally describes the people, you know, that they found in what they call the West Indies, you know, west of where they were coming from. So the entire Americas was called West Indies, or the West. But, you know, literally it was called West Indies even before it was called America. You know what I mean? So it is time to wake up, family. And I know it's a Friday night. You could be in a club right now. You could be doing any other thing right now, but you're here and you see I'm here. That's when you know we are dedicated to this. All right. Again, like I told you, there's another live feed going on, and I'm certainly sure they're talking about no, and family, this is what I'm going to say here, right? Don't take this the wrong way, right? Here I am doing a live feed telling our people about their true identity. And then I'm seeing another live feed going on, you know, because, you know, they normally show like suggestions. I'm seeing another live feed with Seti and Pharaoh. Live chat tonight, creators from the caucus or Caucasus, whatever, June 10th. Let me ask you a question. What is this doing for our people? What is all these lectures talking about the Caucasian man and where they came from and the creation of the white man? What is that doing for our people? How is that helping you get back your land? Huh? How is them telling you you're from Africa when you are not from Africa helping you get back your land? How is them telling you that you're black when they know it means that you are dead in law? How is that going to help you? I have to mention those things because those things are a distraction. And those people, they are not being genuine, okay? They are not telling our people the truth. And I just can't help it. I got to point it out. It is what it is. I have to point it out. All right? I have to point it out, man. I need it. You know, hey, I can't help myself. All right. So I'm going to go. Well, like I said, I'm already in the chat. If you guys have any questions based on what I spoke of, anything you want to build on, let me know. But we're going to stay within the context of the book. All right. We're going to stay in the context because we have to. You have to remember, family. Jamar asked, do you know anything about the Aquarian age? I mean, yes, the Aquarian age, of course, to me, all that stuff is man-made. We are going to wake up anyway. At some point, you have to wake up and say, like, man, something is not right. I've been screaming black for 500 years and nothing changed. Something is wrong. Okay? For over 300 years, whatever, my identity has been changing. Something is wrong. It's just a matter of time before we start waking up. All right? So now it's time for us to realize that we have been lied to. Okay? Yes, we are indigenous to the entire world. But however, we are indigenous to the Americas. That's our home. We have always been here. Okay? So to address the brothers, do I know about the Aquarian age? Yes. That's the age where the entire world is waking up and questioning everything. I'm talking about everything, even their own relationships with their mama. Okay? People are waking up and questioning those things. So that's what the Aquarian age is all about, the awakening age, when people are not looking for one savior, but realizing that we are all saviors of ourselves. So I hope that makes sense. Celestial Writer says, how do you feel about our people saying they are Israelites? I'm going to be quite honest with you, family. The whole Israelite concept has been around for a long time. And sometimes some people may look at it as a religion. Some people may look at it as a way of life. So I am not here to judge that. I tell people, be what you want to be. Okay, as long as you're not harming people. All right. With that being said, my personal opinion is this: all that stuff is man-made. Again, that's my opinion. It is man-made. All right. And if you so choose to be an Israelite or even a Christian, but be an indigenous Christian. Okay, not a black African American Christian, because that makes you a slave. Don't be a black Israelite. If you're going to be an Israelite or practice whether it may be a practice or a religion, be indigenous and do what you're doing. The whole point of this, to me, it's about going back to being indigenous so that we could claim back our land. So whether you're a Christian, whether you're an Israelite, or whether you are a confused Moor who think that the Moors originate in America, because they are not, then it's, to me, that's irrelevant. The point is, as long as you're indigenous to the Americas, be who you want to be. Let us deal with that first. Let us deal with what we have in common first. And what we have in common, we have the American continent as our mother in common. So I don't care if you're an Israelite. I don't care if you're so-called Moor. I don't care if you're a Jehovah's Witness. I don't care if you're a Christian. Later, we will deal with all that. Let us deal with what we have in common right now. We have a common enemy. And those are the people who came and stole our land, and they are not showing us respect in our land. And we need to unite, okay? Because like I read in the excerpt, you see exactly what they did. The division, they told you what they did, okay? They have said their vices have divided us and caused so much more damage even than the sword, because our ancestor said, I would rather die. That's the blood of an Indian. We don't play that. And you heard what they said. The Africans were very submissive. Very submissive. And you ask yourself why they brought a lot of them here. It's not because we couldn't work the land. No, it's because we knew that this was our land and you would rather kill us. So they had to go get the submissive Africans to come be slaves on our land. So y'all better peep the game and wake up. All right, peace, Chief. Just came online and happy to see a live chat. Hey, what's up, Sinolo? Welcome, brother. Welcome. Why do they want our land? Didn't they have their own? Well, what you have to get, Sister Bay, is this: the American continent is where what's called the Holy Land is. Okay, so in Christopher, Christopher Colon, which is Christopher Columbus, he came in search of the Holy Land. That was one of his missions. There was something about this land, of course, the original people. So when they tell you life originated in Africa, that's stories. That's not true. Okay, that is not true, because when they went to Central and South America, they saw the Garden of Eden. All right, the equatorial region is the center of the earth, and that's that area right there. So they know what the significance of that land is, and that's why they came to kill, steal, and destroy, just like how they told you in their Bible. So it is something about our land, something about the people. Okay, and that's why they have spent so much time working on the so-called blacks and African Americans, because they know when we wake up, the world will change. So they have to spend more time damaging our people right here, because we have always been the beacon of the world. Look at any civilization, they emulate what we do. We studied jazz, we studied rock and roll, but of course they claim it. Okay, we studied jazz, they probably want to claim that too. We studied the blues, they want to claim that too. We studied hip hop, guess what? They're going to claim that too. 20 years from now, you're going to hear that, or 50 or 100 years from now, you're going to hear that Eminem was the one who created hip hop. So that's what they do. That's what they do. We create, they talk bad about it. That's the goal. Whatever we do, whatever we create, they talk bad about it, and then 5, 6 years later, they take it and they put a patent on it, and all of a sudden they created it. Take, for instance, when the term bling bling came out. Oh, it's a slang, it's ghetto, it's this and that. But now you're hearing bling bling in commercials. That's what they do. I promise you, 100 years from now, you're going to read in books that Eminem was the one who created hip hop. That's just a rap. That's just what it is. That's what these people do. So their goal is to always come, take, and steal, to kill, steal, and destroy. And unless our people wake up and realize the nature of these people, okay, that's the nature of these people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that for each and every one of them, but the majority of them, they will treat you good as long as you stay in your place. Okay, they will treat you good as long as you know who you are, meaning that you're not better than me, meaning that don't forget you came from slaves. Okay, don't forget you're from Africa. Don't forget this is not your land. So as long as you stay in your place, they will seem to be your friend. But the moment that you wake up to start talking about who you are, trust me, their true nature will come out, because now it's a threat to them. Okay, now I know this is your land. You're waking up. Now they're going to get in defense mode. All right. And that is their true nature, the nature of the beast. All right. Got to wake up. I try to speak to my younger cousin and my mother and brother, but they all shrug of what I am saying and stay stuck in the European matrix. Well, family, that's just what it is. You know, everybody weren't meant to wake up at the same time. All right. But when the time comes, they will wake up. So don't force the information on them. Just drop the information gently. Okay. And let them make their own decision. Don't force it on them, because we don't want to impose on people's free will. All right. So just drop the information, plant the seeds. That's all. That's what I would do. All right. Celestial says, I love my mom, but the Pentecostal church is one of the hell of the draw. Yes. I mean, even I love my mom, but my mom is still a Pentecostal. My sister is married to a pastor. You know, it is what it is. And you know, they keeping their distance from me. You know what? Hey, what can I say? But I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to sacrifice my enlightenment and the truth just because I want to appease the people that I love. You know, I'm not going to do that. If they don't want to listen to the truth, or at least seek the truth for themselves, that's on them. But I'm not going to sacrifice the truth and my growth of who I am just because I want my mother or my sister to, you know, to appreciate me. Nah, do you. Okay, I respect it, do you, but I'm going to do me, because I have found myself. I have found the truth, and I'm going to do me. And I know all that man-made religion is a bunch of BS, and I just don't want to get involved, period. So let them do what they want to do. Julian says, what's your thoughts on the Pleiadians? I have heard the term before, brother. I haven't done much research on that, so I can't say. Like I said, I'm not one of the people that just talk about things that I don't know about. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. So I don't know. But we could do some research on that together if you choose. So you have my number, so we could look into that, all right? Or if you have some information you want to send me in an email, send it to me so I can look at it and check it out. All right. Mr. Marcus says they secretly watch. Gotta keep going. Yes. I mean, nothing is a, nothing is a secret. That's why they have their platforms. People in Facebook, they have groups, private groups, and they don't want you to see what's going on. Like, seriously, do you really think that these people don't know what's going on in these groups? It's an illusion. So regardless of what, they have phones, they tap your phones, they know what's going on. The point is, as long as you do what you're doing with order, okay, they have to respect that, because they know this is our land. They know that. Is when you become a militant, in other words, you're black, okay, but still a slave, not knowing that being black is a slave, and you belong to the corporation. So when you rise up against the corporation have a right to do what they want to do with their slaves. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say right, it doesn't mean that it's moral. Every slave master has a right to do what he or she wants to do with their slaves. So by default, when you call yourself black, by default, when you own a business and you're black, by default, when you own children and you're black, they belong to the slave master. That's why it's important, okay, to get out of the beast, get out of that system, because that wasn't organic to our ancestors. And I am speaking to the American Aborigines, just so that I make myself clear. I am not soliciting American citizens, United States citizens. All right? So I hope that makes sense. Silulu said, Chief, did you hear that they are now claiming that human life probably originated in Europe now instead of Africa? Also, they just released DNA results saying ancient Egyptian mummies were Europeans. Well, family, that's the purpose of the beast. Remember, they tell you they came to kill, steal, and destroy. Nothing that these people do should surprise you. That's why we need to focus on our truth. So for those of our people who are actual American Aborigines and they want to think they're from Africa, go ahead. Listen to the lie. It's okay if that's your truth. Let it be your truth. But know that I know who I am. I am an American Aborigine. They call American Indian. Okay? So I know that I am not a citizen of the United States. Okay? The Constitution of my ancestors supersedes their statutes and codes. So I am protected. So if you choose to be black, that's on you. If you want to be African American, that's on you. You can't say you didn't know. My job is to bring the truth, and I am bringing the truth to you. All right? Hey, family, don't forget to hit the super chat. All right? Please support. You got the GoFundMe link below, and you have the super chat. Again, support. We got to support each other. All right? So yes, these people will continue to switch things up so that it could work for them. You can't be mad at them. This is the biggest hustle, okay? The biggest hustle is to tell the lies and make things work in their benefit. I'm just saying. You can't be mad at them. Why be mad at people for having their shit together? We have to be mad at ourselves for not having our shit together. That's what we need to be mad at. So it's time to put in this work, all right? Remember, Africa is named after a European ruler that conquered the land. How can we have African ancestry? Yes, Lisa, that is true, but only a certain part of Africa, which was called Tunisia, was really called Africa. But then it extended to the entire African continent. And yes, a lot of us do have African ancestry. Why? Because we have always done commerce with Africans. And yes, they did bring some Africans here. So we did mix. So yes, they are our relatives, but we are not from there. For those of us who are American Aborigines, we are Americans with some African ancestry. We are not African with American ancestry. It's the other way around. So I hope that makes sense. Jamar says, before knowing all of this, I was really depressed and didn't know why, but now I am in more of a peaceful state. And, you know, and family, that comes with knowing thyself. You see, when you know yourself, and that's one thing our ancestors, that's in my blood. Because I know who I am, and I know that Indian red blood runs through me, that I would rather die than be a slave. I would rather die than you call me your citizen. Okay? I would rather die fighting for my land, but I am not going to be your slave. And that was the difference between us and the Africans. You saw it when they said it in their own document. That was a very, very, you know, profound, distinction. Our African brothers, they were submissive. They would rather go into slavery. But the Indian wasn't having that. We would rather die. So that's why they had to kill us off. So know the difference. Okay? We are the American Aborigines. All right. This is Sister Sterling Bay says Afri-Men's Code. Honestly, Africans, the term Africans were, the so-called Caucasians were first called Africans even before the so-called blacks in Africa. So that's a possibility. Jamal says real talk. It's donate my whole check. Well, Jamal, I appreciate that, brother, but family, you don't have to donate your whole check. You know, just like I said, just to support. You know, I have my GoFundMe link below because the research that I do, man, you know, I literally meditate and ask the ancestors to bring me that information, and all of a sudden a brother would hit me up, hey chief, check this out, you know, or I would find something and I have to bring it to the people, because that's the only way we are going to wake up to know that this is ours. Okay, this is ours. We never came on no slave ship. That's a lie. We've been here. That's our land. Okay, and the more you search, you will, in truth, you will find. So I just hope these brothers, man, start telling the people the truth and stop telling our people we from Africa. Stop calling our people black. Okay, and y'all got to start questioning those people. Start questioning them. Don't let that, the charisma and you know, the characteristics and, you know, no, don't fall for that trick. Because I'm going to ask you again, if these dudes have so much knowledge, why are they not telling you the truth? Why? You have to ask yourself that question. Okay. He says, word up, great discussion. Thank you, Issa. I appreciate that. Like you said, don't hate the player, hate the game. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to get our affairs in order. That's what we have to do. Lisa says, okay, thanks for the info. Anytime. Julianne said, yep, don't hate the beast. The laws hate the game. Indeed, because my brothers and sisters, you have to realize this. You know, the Constitution, like I said before in prior videos, the Constitution was written to protect the American Indians. Our ancestors wrote and created and formed the Constitution, and the United States of America adopted it. So it is still in place to protect the American Indian. However, for the American Indian not to be protected under that Constitution, what they had to do, they had to change his and her identity. So by you accepting the classification that they gave you, that means you are not protected under that Constitution that was made to protect you. So now you are being abused in the streets, thinking it's because you are black. No, it's because you have accepted the classification of the term black. That means you are dead. So why treat people who are dead with any type of respect? They are dead. They don't exist. They are 3/5 of a human. So why do we need to give them any rights? So you don't have any rights. You have privileges that was awarded to you by the corporation. It's only when you go back into your organic state, which is indigenous American Indian, then and only then you have the natural rights that your ancestors put in place to protect you. I just wish my people could just get this. Man, it is so simple, but yet still, life could be so hard. Lisa said, I am Cherokee and Apache and Creole. I have since I was a child. Yes, that's who we are. That's who we are. You know, and family, here's something I want you to think about, right? Think about this before I even go back into the chat. You have a lot of old people saying, well, you know what? My uncle was an Indian. My grandma was an Indian. So let me ask you a question. If your uncle or your grandma was, or your great-grandmother or your great-grandfather was an Indian, where did that go? All of a sudden, how did you end up black? How did you end up African American if your grandmother was, or great-grandmother was an Indian? So did they just, what? Did the Indian just appear only in your great-grandmother and just disappeared? And all of a sudden you are black or African American? Family, like, sometimes I ask people, do you really think of what you're saying? You were telling me that your great-grandmother was Indian, but all of a sudden the Indian just disappeared. And all of a sudden everybody after her became black and African American. So where did the Indian come from? Did it magically just appear? No, we have always been the Indians, always. We are not a little, we are the real ones, the original ones. We have always been here. Wow. Jamar says, why are Africans so submissive? Really, they should be stronger than that. I have no idea, family. That's what the people who enslaved, they enslaved both people on both continents. And they said that the African man is submissive, but the Indian would rather die than be a slave. So that was one of the characteristics between us and them, distinguishing us from them, telling us that we are not them. We were not them. We came from a different stock of people because we are original people. And again, I'm not talking down or bad about our African brothers and sisters, but the facts is the facts. And they need to wake up and get their stuff together too, because the Europeans are coming. And the beauty about it is they see that we are waking up here in the American continent. We are waking up, and they know we are going to get our land back. So now they have to go create the United States of Africa and do the same thing to them that they have done to us. So I tell my brothers and sisters from the African continent, y'all better wake up. Y'all better wake up. Wake up. Issa says, U.S. citizens have 3/5 rights of state citizens. Also, U.S. citizens are not protected with First Amendments, 8 amendments of the U.S. Constitution. That is correct, because it wasn't created for them. Okay, they have privileges. They don't have any rights. Okay, the Constitution was created for the people and by the people. Who are the people? We are the people, meaning that the original people, what they call American Indians, the American Aborigines, that was put in place to protect the American Aborigines, not United States citizens. They adopted it and adopted certain parts of it and ratified it, okay, to give privileges to some of their citizens, all right? But it wasn't meant to protect the American Indians. Like I told y'all before, and I did videos on that, from the 1924 Indian Citizen Act. Okay, the Indian Citizen Act of 1924, it clearly states that they gave us citizenship. However, they made all of our ancestors citizens, provided it didn't impair them being an Indian by taking their land or their culture. So my question to you is, do you have your culture and do you have your land? If those answers are no, then that means you are not a citizen. Our people are not citizens. They think they're citizens because they think that being black makes them a citizen, or being African makes them a citizen. No, it makes you a slave. You are not human. All right. Issa says, Maxwell versus Doe. Yep, indeed, indeed, indeed. When a couple gets married, the judge says, by the power invested in him, I pronounce. Then when I view your marriage license, it declares, says you have been granted permission to practice marriage. Yeah, it's a license. And our ancestors didn't need those things. All right. When you, and I've done videos on contracts, so you could check that out as well. So I don't want to divert into that because that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, marriages, birth certificates, social security numbers, those are contracts. And I've done videos literally explaining that in detail. Those are contracts. That your marriage is not between you and your husband or you and your wife. It's between you, your spouse, and the government. Okay, and that's why they have a right to come take your children, because they are the ones that's in charge of your marriage. It's a contract that you signed with them. right? They own your children. You don't own yourself. The only way to get back your organic self is to go back to what your ancestors were, which is indigenous, okay? American Aborigines, the American Indians, all right? Nas or Jay-Z. Okay, what's up with all these questions here, man? I mean, wasn't the US called tobacco company before it was called the United States? I mean, I know that we have always had tobacco because our ancestors smoked tobaccos, but the US in itself, I'm not sure what it was called, you know, at that time. I know when it was established, you know, as a corporation, but I don't know if it was called a tobacco company. Lisa said, I was in an Indian restaurant and the waiter said to me, hey, you're American Indian. And I was, yeah, you're right. You're right, Chief. They know who we are. Yes, I have experienced it on numerous occasions where it's, they see me all the time and they know. Okay, they know who we are. The only problem is our people don't know who they are. And that's the sad part. But yes, they do know who we are. Right, but we are the priority interest holders. Teach them about the Uniform Commercial Code. I have done videos about that, Issa. You know, like literally the land. Okay, we are the natural custodians. Okay, we are the natural heir to that land. So once we go back into our natural state of being, in our proper persona, then we could step up and claim what's ours. Okay, then we could step up and claim. We don't have to deal with the UCC. No, we don't have to deal with none of that. You see, me, I have surpassed all that. I don't deal with that. I go straight to who my ancestors were. And with that, that gives me every right to everything that's on my land. All right. So it puts me back in the landlord position. So that's what we are putting in motion right now, to get back to the point where we could establish us as the landlords of the land opposed to the tenants, because that's who we are. If our ancestors own the land, by default, the children own the land. It's ours. It's not theirs. They are squatters. Okay, they are the immigrants. They are the illegal ones. We are the natural heir to this land, and that's why they have to pay the conscious community. That's why they have to pay these people to keep you misled by calling you black and calling you African American, but you think they love you. No, they don't. They are paid agents. Yeah. Says. Okay, Issa said nice. Issa, the etymology of the word nice means stupid. So if you look up the etymology of the word nice, it is not so much of a nice word. It means stupid. It means basically retarded. But I get what you were trying to say, but I just want you to know what that word means, the etymology of the word. Jamal says, Chief, you are really a gift. You speak knowledge, and it's some very potent stuff. Well, I appreciate that, family. Like I said, I want my platform to be a platform of truth, you know, not to mislead the people, because I always tell folks, I am not going to focus on trying to go to Hollywood. I'm not going to focus on trying to buy nice cars. I'm not going to try to focus on getting the nice home when I have a continent to claim. You see, I am not thinking small. I am thinking of getting back my continent, my land. So why do I want to, you know, why do I want to bring information to my people to sound popular, or to get famous, or to go do lectures and mislead people because it sounds good, tell them they're black or they're African American, black power, just so that that's popular? No, I want to tell the truth, because by telling the truth, with those of us who wake up, we will be in the position to get back our land, not these so-called black people, because black people, they don't exist. They are 3/5 of humans, so they have no rights, and they will continue to get killed in the streets. Okay, I want to walk with my brothers and sisters who know that they are indigenous, who know that they are the American Aborigines. That's who I'm walking with. You feel me? So those who want to be black, go ahead and be black. If you want to be African American, when they catch your ass, and well, they ain't got boat. If you think you came on a boat, then guess what? You are in luck. They ain't got no slave ships no more. If that's what you really think, you could buy a one-way ticket. Buy your plane ticket and go back to Africa. Go home. What you over here for, getting mad at us because we know we American Aborigines? Like, these people got nerve, man. They got some nerve. Like, when I say, okay, you know what? I'm not African. I'm American Aborigine. They getting mad. Why are you getting mad at me? Because I know who I am. Like, I don't get that. And if you feel you're from Africa, then go home. It's simple, go home. But you can't go home because, first of all, you don't know what part in Africa, because Africa is a continent. So I'm African, but where? You don't know. What tribe? You don't know. What bloodline? You don't know. Who's your chief? You don't know. What is the culture? You don't know, but yet still you're African. Like, come on, man, stop. Well, thank you, Jamal. Sterling Bay, yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. Julian says, I was told if anyone build a village, you have to let the beast know, or else they will raid it. What's your thoughts on that? No, you know, we don't have to let anybody know anything. You know, you see, we don't. But let's put it this way: we don't need permission to do anything as the indigenous people. Let me rephrase that. Okay, if you look at UNDRIP, and I'm glad somebody posted it. If you look at UNDRIP and the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, we have a right to self-identify. Okay, we have a right to, you know, to have our own culture, our own spirituality, our own communities. We have a right to do those things because we are the original people. All right. However, it would be in our best favor to put them on notice. And what I mean by that is, it's not that we are asking them for permission, but I am telling you, this is who we are, and we are here. So now, so that they would recognize us from a government to government relationship. And that's what this is for. Okay, but not asking them for permission. So I hope that makes sense, Julian. All right. Marlon says, Chief, can you post your email? I have something for you to check out pertaining to your If the World Knows Why Don't You video. All right, my email is in the description below, Marlon, but I'm gonna post it again. Okay, there goes my email again. All right, Snillo says, it seems that the only reason we are conquered is because they have a technological advantage on weaponry, which nobody has matched. Where did they get this knowledge from? Well, family, everything, you know, to answer your question, Sinolu, is to me, my own, you know, opinion on that is, these people have learned so much. They have, you're welcome, Alan. They have gone into pretty much every part of the world to learn about indigenous people and their knowledge, and they went to improve on things, okay, make things more modernized. And they always say they created, or they formed, or they have a patent on it. They don't have a patent on anything. You cannot have a patent on anything. You take somebody's idea. You know, to me, that's just capitalism. You know what I mean? To take charge and control. So to answer your question, we don't have to be afraid of their weapons, because you have to realize that, again, there is order in the world. There is order in the world. Their weapons are to control their citizens. Okay? Their weapon is to control their citizens. When you are indigenous, you have an entire international community fighting on your behalf. Again, on DRIP, the United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous People, not Black people, not African American, indigenous people. If you look at the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, it's indigenous people, not Black people, not African Americans. So therefore, their weapons are they were created to use, I mean, apart from conquering the world, but to use to control their slaves. But once the indigenous people wake up, there is an international community that's fighting on behalf of indigenous people. And the moment we as the indigenous people wake up and realize who we are and step up, and they want to use their weapons against us, guess what? That will be the end of the United States, because the world is not going to deal with that, because they take the matters of indigenous people very seriously. And that's why they are trying so hard to keep you distracted from who you are. That's why they are paying your so-called conscious teachers and leaders to keep you Black and African American, making you think you're from Africa. You gotta peep the game. Peep the game, fam. Peep the game. All right, peep the game. These people, that you got to give them credit. They are intelligent. Don't get me wrong. They are the greatest imitators. Okay, they're thieves. You have to keep that in mind. They told you in their Bible they came to kill, steal, and destroy. So you already know the premise of their foundation, their nature. But they're not stupid. They are not stupid. So they have to try every clever way, okay, to stay on top. And that is to make you black and African American. The moment you wake up to know who you truly are, and we step up, and they try anything with physical force, then that would be the demise of the United States, because the international world will step in. Because now those people, they're not private slaves. They are free people that you are using those weapons against. So you see why they got to keep you lost? You see why they got to keep you black? You see why they got to keep you African American? All right. Jamal says, Chief, you really want to become connected to the ancestor, I advise you astral project. This is something powerful, and you really could learn things. There are real talk. Jamar, I mean, I talk to my ancestors all the time, you know, so I have my way of communicating with the ancestors and the source, you know, so I do that, you know, in visions. I do that when I go to sleep. I do it through, you know, my pendulum work. So I have ways and means of communicating with the ancestors for real. Absolutely. But some people do that. And that's a great means of finding information as well. All right. You are correct. So family, I know we've been on here for a while. So I'm about to wrap this up. I just wanted to introduce this great book to you. Please, family, take your time and read it. You know, read it over and over again until it digests. Share it with your peoples. Share it with your family, because that's how we're going to wake up. All right. That's how we're going to wake up, by telling the truth. All right. By telling the truth. And let me tell you, let me suggest something to y'all. Whenever y'all listening to these other people on Facebook, on YouTube, Facebook, wherever they at, lying to y'all and telling y'all we from Africa or we are black, you have to question them. Question their motives. Ask them, why y'all calling us black when we are not? Why y'all telling us we're from Africa when we are not? You got to hold them accountable, because they're misleading the people. All right. Celestial says, just because they look like you doesn't mean they are for you. The common, yep, of course. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I couldn't have said it better. All right. So family, once again, like I said, I had, for the past 12 to 14 to 18 hours, I was helping a sister move. Me and my brother was helping a sister move. So I'm a little bit exhausted, but I just felt I had to do this video. You know, I felt the need to do it. So I'm gonna get some, you know, I'm gonna take a nap and get some rest, because I haven't slept. You know, I kind of took a nap, but I've been on the go doing some hard, you know, labor, helping the sister out. You know, it was just showing her some love. You know, she was moving, and that's what we're supposed to do, man. Look out for each other. So we told her that we would come help her out, so we did. But once again, I thank y'all for tuning in, you know, and thank you for being here. And please, you know, the links are below. Support, support, support. You know, it gives me, it helps me free up my time to do the research and read all the books. Like you see, these books, they over 400 pages, and I try to read 100 pages a day. So that's how I do my research. That's how I study. Whenever I get a book with great information, I commit myself to read 100 pages a day. So if the book is 400 pages, if the book is 400 pages, then I read 100 pages a day. Then in 4 days, I could read the book, because I know I have to do a video to bring the information. So family, as you could see, I spend a lot of time to do this. You know what I mean? So that's why, again, I ask for your support. So, you know, show some love. All right. Jabbar said, peace, by Chief, rest. Can't wait until the next live one. All right. Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Peace and love. High vibes, family. Continue to vibe high. Continue to wake up. Continue to seek the truth. Continue to live within your truth. You know, and we are just putting so much in place right now for indigenous people, because when we put what we put in place, those who are lost, they will see what we are doing. but we have to set the foundation. Everybody's going to wake up when it's time, but we have to set up the foundation. We have to set up the premise of what's going to happen to our people. So we are literally the ones setting that pace. So like I said before, my videos may not be popular. It's all right. It may not be as viral as theirs. It's okay. I may not have all the subscribers they have. It's okay. The few of you that are here right now, that's enough for us to build. Okay, it's enough for us to build. All right, so my email is below. Send me an email because we're going to be plugging into private, conference calls. Yes, you know what? We may have a few agents in there. It's okay. They're watching anyway. So they can't stop what we are doing. They can't. We are going to be victorious. So send me an email, your contact information, your contact number, so we can link up, plug you guys into the conference calls, because we are literally setting up shop in every state. So when we pick up and do what we got to do, we in every part of our continent, not just in the United States, but all over the Americas. We are literally putting things in place to restore our ancestral lands, because this is who we are, the American Aborigines. We have always been here, and we ain't going a damn place, period. We are the autochthonous American Indians, the American Aborigines. They call the Indians, period. And they're not going to give you those books. They are going to hide them. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to hide them. And that's why I go find them. I go, I meditate, I sun gaze, I ask my sensei, I say, listen, I need some information to bring to the people. I need to open up their mind, open up their eyes. And I get the information, and I come and I drop it to y'all. So that's what I do, man. That's what I do. All right. Thanks, Chief. Really appreciate the high vibes. High vibes, Sanu. Melissa said, thanks. Be well, be healthy, and wealth be upon you. Absolutely. Same to you, family. Thanks for the info. No problem, family. You guys sleep well. And I guess we'll talk soon. All right. Have a good night. And thank you so much. Peace and love.